Hi, I'm Marci Kobayashi, and I'm back again with another excerpt from my book, Finding Yoyu. If you're new here, you might want to go back and start from excerpt number 1, but if you've been following along, then you know that in the last video, I was sharing about a TV show that we were on back in 2007 when they introduced a little bit about my father-in-law's past. So for this video, I want to share with you the next section where that same TV show follows us down to Hiroshima so that we can meet up with my mother-in-law and father-in-law and tell them about our intention to live together. So here we go. The TV show did a good job of dramatizing Otosan's past and getting the general gist of his story, even if they messed up some of the details. For example, we all agreed that the actor playing the role of commanding officer needed a haircut. After covering Otosan and his history, the show dramatized how Akira and I met years later working in the same office at a university. The scene ended with the actors playing Marci and Akira making a trip to Hiroshima to meet the parents. The story was left hanging, hinting that Otosan was strict and perhaps a little scary because of his kamikaze history. From there, the TV show jumped to present day, and the hosts invited the real Marci and Akira on stage to get the real story of what happened during our first visit. Otosan was far from scary. Though I don't remember much about the first visit, I do remember exactly what Otosan said the first time he saw me. "Dekkai no! You're so big!" When I shared this on TV, it got a roar of laughter and endeared everyone to Otosan. It was funny because though I have always been slender, at 5'11" or 179 centimeters, I truly am big compared to Otosan. And, as if on cue, later when the TV crew interviewed Otosan, he mentioned my bigness again. The TV show generously arranged for us to visit Akira's hometown and stay with his parents for a few days. They wanted to make a sort of documentary. The premise for this part of the show was to give us an opportunity to tell Akira's parents that we were thinking of someday living with them. I thought this was ridiculous because all 4 of us already knew that someday we would live together. I complained loudly to anyone and everyone about some of the crazy things the director wanted me to do for the show, and I even refused to do a few of them. However, I eventually agreed to the idea of us announcing our intention to live together because I figured it was time for the 4 of us to start thinking realistically about how it might look. Though the TV show made it appear like they were filming a series of spontaneous conversations and family activities and giving viewers a candid peek into our relationships, all of the scenes were staged. They weren't scripted though, so sometimes they made us do scenes over and over again until we could say what we were supposed to say and make it seem natural. For example, they wanted to show Otosan teaching me how to plant some vegetables, a hint at what it might be like for me to work the family garden alongside him if we lived together someday. Leading into this scene, Otosan was supposed to holler at me from outside the kitchen window to come and join him. The director made Otosan do it over and over again until we could all see Otosan's frustration. Though getting Otosan to say that one scripted line seemed to take forever, we were able to do the chat from the house down to the garden in just one take. For the final scene, Akira and I were supposed to announce that we were seriously considering living together with his parents. Before the cameras rolled, the 4 of us talked about what to say and how the conversation would flow. The staged conversation took place over breakfast. Oddly, when we got to the part about living together, Otosan claimed this was the first time he had heard of our intention. I wasn't sure whether to be surprised at his superb acting, irritated that he hadn't been paying attention earlier, or alarmed that he didn't remember our conversation a few minutes before the cameras started rolling. Years later, I realized that this scene was one of the many early signs of Alzheimer's that we had simply dismissed as Otosan's peculiar and/or funny personality. Even with all the cameras, I was moved by how present Okasan was. She expressed her desire that we move home and at the same time expressed a clear understanding of how difficult it would be to make that happen. While the camera was still rolling, while the camera was still rolling, I said something clever like, "People think, oh, this is too difficult, and they give up. I don't know how we'll make it happen, but we have to at least start with the intention." Okasan probably thought I was just saying that for dramatic effect. I wasn't. I truly believed it, and I think that is why, when the time came, it didn't take any time at all to make the decision to do it. How to do it, or how to go about merging our lives, did take time to figure out. It is something I'm still adjusting to and tweaking day by day. I always thought it meant that we would move to Hiroshima. I only recently learned that though Akira had no idea what it would look like for us to care for them, he had no intention of moving back home and living with them in Hiroshima. The one thing we held as a constant, though, was that we would be responsible. So when the time came, it meant half the decision was already made. Okay, that's all for today, and I will be back again next week with the next section. Thank you so much for listening. Bye for now.